everybody. What is up? It's your good friends Corey Camp and Brian McGill back at you for another What's Up Wednesday. Corey, how you been? How was
I have
Thanksgiving?
been good. Yeah, Thanksgiving was great. It was the first, I've been cooking a turkey since I was about 12. With some assistance from my mom, but since I was 12, and this was the very first year, I did not have to put a bird in the oven. So
Praise the
I'm
Lord.
kind of low on the leftovers. I didn't get to take a lot home, but it was kind of nice not have to get up early and worry about, is it going to be moist enough and is it going to taste good? And so I had a good Thanksgiving, and I'm starting
What?
to decorate our house for the holiday season. So yeah, feeling those vibes right now. How about you? What'd you
Well,
do for Thanksgiving?
the whole McGill clan came into Ohio. I got to see some family from New York. My Aunt Judy cooked up a turkey, and my Uncle John and put out the big spread. And it was really good to see some of my cousins and some of my family that I have. I only get to see them a few times a year because everybody's growing their families. Everybody's got their careers blossoming. Everybody's doing stuff. So it was just so good to see everybody. But the good news is I'm going to Fire Island with my Uncle Ross. So we're going to hit, we put some boat plans together for summer because summer's not too far away. And this summer just seems like this school year just feels like it's kind of getting away from us. It's like we're almost at the midpoint. Corey, what do
I
you think?
I'm telling you, it's crazy. Yeah, we're almost to that midpoint, that winter break. This year has flown by. But I also think I just have to go back to the fact that you always have boating on your mind, always. I love that
Never
about
miss out
you.
on a good
You're always
opportunity.
talking about a lake and a boat and making plans. So
Get out there. Get out.
yeah, but yes, this year has really flown by, and I know that a lot of our friends are getting ready to count down to Christmas, right, Brian?
We
It's
are counting
started.
down, ladies and gentlemen. Count it down with Corey Camp and Brian McGill. We've got. I think we just realized everybody's going to be wrapping up on the 20th, and so we've got 13 days until winter break. 13 was it 13 class days
Yeah, that's school
essentially,
days. 13
and
school
so
days.
and then what one statistic that's not on here is 3 What's Up Wednesdays.
Yep.
And
That's right.
on the first What's Up Wednesday on the countdown to Christmas, we wanted to kind of it's time to start getting in the holiday mood with your favorite holiday movie.
Yeah.
Corey, talk to us a little bit about your favorite movie.
I have a lot. I mean, the holidays are one of my favorites times of year, and so we've actually been every night. We've been on movie mode in my household, and everyone gets to pick a movie. And sometimes they're holiday. Most of them, the past few weeks, have been holiday related. Sometimes they're not. One of my all-time favorites, and it was really hard for me to pick, but one of the ones that I find myself quoting all the time, all year long, is Elf. I'm just a really big fan. And this gift is exactly how I feel when it comes Christmas time. I'm so excited. I'm right there next to my kids, super excited for Santa. So yeah. And then you've got A Wonderful Life for
It's
yours.
it, yeah. I mean, never forget how lucky we have it out there, boys and girls.
Mhm.
No matter what you're faced with, family is number one. It's I love this movie. George Bailey, I look up to him, and he's just got a wonderful family that I'm always interested in his journey. I watch it with my father every year.
Yep.
That's one of the things we like to do. And one year here in actually almost every year in Pittsburgh, somebody shows this on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this year we find the right place to go and do that. But every time a bell rings, Corey, an angel gets its wings.
That's right.
We'd like to invite everybody from What's Up Wednesday to share
Yes.
their favorite holiday movie. You can share it with a title or a GIF. Gifts, we love our gifts here at Sibme, and we will enter you in to win an Amazon gift card for $25. So we will be doing the drawing on Friday. We'll do the drawing on Friday. What do you think? Does that sound
No,
right, Corey?
no,
No,
we
no,
said
when
we're going to do it
Corey's the boss.
Wednesday.
We're gonna
And
do
the
it
best.
next Wednesday. So you have
We'll
a whole
announce our
week.
winner. Yeah.
We'll announce our winner next Wednesday. And so, anyways, go ahead and get your favorite holiday movies in here and win a $25 gift card. $25 goes a long way around the
little something to help you out. We'll be giving something away every week this month in December. So as we count down towards Christmas, so we might have more holiday cash. We might have some swag to give away next week. You don't know. It'll be a surprise. So yeah, we're excited to help you spread the cheer, or maybe just get something for yourself, and get it Amazon Prime. That's how I'm doing most of my shopping this year. So
yeah, I will not be going. I just ordered, I think, about 30 new car air fresheners, Corey. I'm passing those things out for Christmas.
passing them out like candy, making it rain, air fresheners.
Merry Christmas, Richard. Here's your air freshener. I couldn't get you a new car, but you can make your one smell.
I like it. I like it. All right. So where are you gonna? We've got a big conference coming up next week, right, Ryan?
Oh my gosh, I've been excited about this for a long time. We're gonna get excited for the 2019 Learning Forward Conference. The Sibme community will be out there in Groves. We've got a number of conference sessions we want you to be aware of. Folks that are using Sibme at a very high level and will be able to present on all the things that they're doing in education and Sibme, and maybe how Sibme supports them. This is the table here, but don't forget to stop at the Sibme booth during the Monday social, 5 to 6:30. Drinks on Learning Forward. Everybody's going to be coming by. We're going to be doing some interviews with all of our session attendees. Session hosts, speakers rather. And then Justin Bader of the Principal Center will be connecting with the folks that will be doing the major panel we're doing. Now we're talking, but with video. That's going to be Tuesday morning. So please stop by the Sibme booth. But prior to that, we're our friends at Derry Township. They'll have a Monday session. We're going to try to pick out some of the attendees that will be at the conference and see if they want to give us their after the chat. If you're interested in micro credentialing, I'm sorry, but Donna Spangler is one of my favorite folks to connect people with. She's a subject matter expert on on this work, and they're my good friends from here in Pennsylvania. Come out and check out session 1422 on leveraging video-powered collaboration, PLCs, and coaching with micro-credentials. And then early Tuesday morning, get up and have some breakfast with the Sibme community. Justin Bader, Joseph Sally, Michael Fumagalli, Dr. Donna Spangler, and Dr. Tanya Goree are going to have a panel on how panel discussion on their truths around implementing Sibme, why they got started, how has this transformed practice, what were some of the norms that they established at the beginning. I mean, if the technology is one thing, but moving people is probably the biggest problem in making this transition. And so this is not a technology discussion. This is purely essentially people and their strategy of moving people towards this direction. So don't miss this. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a powerhouse panel. I mean, all of these administrators have done amazing things. They're some of my favorite people to collaborate with and listen to. I don't always get to work directly with them. They've been doing a lot of webinars and things with us. So I think this will be a great one to go to. And again, it's not so much about Sibme and the technology. It's about really learning about the possibilities of transforming the learning in your campus or in your district, so you can really make transformational change in education.
Yes,
so they'll definitely give some ideas for that, for sure.
We've got campus leaders here from turnaround schools, like Joseph's campus. He's been exceeding gains and beating the odds in Georgia for the last few years. Mike Fumagalli, he's got essentially a medal from the president for science teaching. and he's essentially transitioned from being a high impact classroom teacher to being a campus leader at a high performing school in Illinois. Dr. Spangler, obviously the micro credentialing programming, and then Dr. Guri, a school transformation associate superintendent, getting some perspective from a central office leader on implementing this work and how to make those kind of movements is very important. So come out and have breakfast with the Sibme community Tuesday at 7:30. And then our good friends from Katy ISD, Dr. Steele and Jackie Zimmerman, tools for creating a system of personalized learning. These folks are leading an instructional program where video observation and feedback is the method for that work. Imagine managing instructional coaching programs inside of Sibme, and being able to get all of your data in one place and all of your coaches essentially increasing their capacity to support teachers with video. This is going to be a good session for y'all to attend if you're leading instructional coaching programs.
Yeah, so lots of good stuff. And you're going to be doing some interviews with them at the booth, right? All of our Sibme community members, but then we'll do a wrap-up session the week following. We'll kind of share some of those big takeaways and highlights from those who are attending and presenting at that conference. So that'll be that last week that we have What's Up Wednesday here in December. So
perfect.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about who you've brought in for us to talk with today. Today, we're talking about supporting new teachers after they have entered the field, right? So they finished with their coursework, they've become certified, they're in that first few years as a new teacher. And we have our good friend, Angela Adams, here with us from the CarolinaTIP program. Hi, Angela.
How are you?
Hey, Angela, how you doing? What is up?
Not much. I'm going to be checking my mailbox for an air freshener from this point forward. Oh, I'm doing great. We're getting ready for Christmas around here too. We have a bunch of brand new teachers that are very excited to have their first winter break ever.
Oh, that's exciting. That's
really
exciting. Yeah.
So Angela, I got introduced to your program I guess 2 semesters ago, and I was really excited to learn about your program, but I think that our listeners are interested in what is CarolinaTIPs and kind of what's your mission there, because I think it's kind of unique.
Got it. So Carolina Teacher Induction Program is what CarolinaTIP stands for, and the entire idea is this. The university for which I work, the University of South Carolina in Columbia, South Carolina, in an effort to make sure that their education graduates are not a part of the teacher shortage and instead are staying in the classroom for a long, long time, have put a lot of money into promising their graduates 3 years of someone like me if they stay in the area. So it's an interesting combination of a little bit instructional coach, a little bit cheerleader, a little bit counselor, a little bit confidant. It just depends on the teacher. And as I remember from my first few years of teaching, I taught for 20 years in a middle school classroom. Don't be jealous. And as I remember, those first few years are tough, man. And a lot of teachers aren't making it through them. And it's the university for which I work is an R1 institution, which I did not know what that meant when I taught in a classroom, but it means that they're really into research. And the research shows that the 2 things that are really effective in keeping teachers in the profession are having a veteran mentor who's really engaged and enthusiastic, and also being around other first-year teachers. So a huge part of our program involves community among the teachers and letting them all be with each other and figure out, it's not me, it's all of us. It's all first-year teachers or second-year teachers or third-year teachers. So that's what our program is all about. It's about giving them a chance to take what they learned in an excellent educator prep program and actually put it into practice in a real classroom with real students, because some of that stuff is so theoretical until you have those children sitting in front of you.
Also, and that kind of mission and that kind of program comes with a lot of moving parts, as you can imagine. And so that's why I think it was really important for you to adopt a video coaching collaboration platform. if you don't mind me asking, since the adoption of Sibme into your supervision, how has this been transforming some of the ways that you've been supporting teachers?
So first of all, we did not adopt Sibme arbitrarily. I spent lots of time. It was one of my missions was to look at every digital platform that was within our price range and make comparisons and figure out which one worked best for us. And so we landed on Sibme for three main reasons. One is that it didn't require any special equipment. We're a program that is growing exponentially. So this is only our third year of existence. The first year we had 15 teachers. Last year we had 54. This year we have 112.
Wow.
So we are growing like crazy. And the thought of having to purchase some piece of equipment for every teacher was just not sustainable for us. And so that was a huge part of Sibme. We also loved, because we work with mostly Gen Zers, we also love that it can all be done in the phone. They live on their phones. And so the fact that they can use a laptop, but they really don't have to. And then the biggest thing for us was that it is a completely intuitive program. So our teachers have no problem figuring out how to export their video because it's the exact same button that they use on their phone to export to YouTube, that sort of thing. All of that being said, once we decided on Sibme, it has really transformed what we do. So we do lots of we call them class visits, not observations, because we don't work for the school or the district. It's completely non-evaluative. And so we go in and visit classes and we sit down with these young teachers. And what we figured out is that they often have a very different idea of how their class is going and what's happening than what's actually true.
Right.
And it goes both ways. Some of them think they're doing awesome and they don't realize at all that a quarter of the class was on their phones the whole time. Some of them beat themselves up and think they're doing terribly when really there's lots of good going on. And so one thing that Sibme has done for us is it's given us a chance to reflect back to the teachers what we actually see. And the power in that is just incredible. So we use it a lot for video observations where teachers actually tape their own lessons and send them to their coaches. But we've also incorporated it with our third year teachers. They are each doing right now a leadership action project where they're picking some area of their school that they can make a difference. And they are actually creating presentations and uploading those presentations to their coaches as opposed to just showing lessons. So we're using it a couple of different ways there. A huge way that it has transformed our program is that we now have a way to look at analytics and figure out, this sounds terrible, but make sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Our coaching staff is growing every year. Our number of teachers is growing every year. What we don't want is for someone to slip through the cracks, because slipping through the cracks with young teachers turns into not showing back up the next August. Yeah. And so able to look and with a fine tooth comb or from a 30,000 foot view, we just have a chance to really see what's going on. Another way that we've used it is for a little bit of socialization, which, as I mentioned, is a huge part of keeping teachers in the profession. We have our coaching huddles that are private between a coach and one teacher, but then we have our collaboration huddles too. And those have turned into a little bit of a, like a version of Marco Polo. We find hilarious little clips that teachers are sending to those collaboration huddles. Which is a chance to kind of show people, look at this sweater this kid wore today, you know, that kind of thing. And so that's really neat.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We felt great about our decision to take Sibme on and to adopt it as our only digital platform. And man, has it turned into more than we even thought that it could have. And so one of those examples would be, we have a super introverted first year teacher, which is hard to imagine an introverted teacher, but he's super introverted, and he felt pretty uncomfortable with having his coach come in and watch his class. Now with first year teachers, it's usually in-person observations. We don't use video with our first year teachers, but because we had Sibme, we were able to say, would you feel better about just a camera recording your class? And he said, oh my gosh, yes. And so we've even been able to use it with teachers we weren't planning on using it with, which is really nice. These videos, they just give us a common experience when we're talking with teachers, just a common experience to reference. So one of the things, I'm going to keep talking just for 1 second. One of the things that I always say about coaching first year teachers is that you need to be a mirror to them and reflect to them how they're doing. But as I like to call it, sort of a skinny mirror. Like you want to show them a good version of how things are going because they tend to beat themselves up.
Mm-hmm.
And what Sibme and video coaching has done for us is with those second-year teachers who have got their feet under them a little bit, aren't quite as tenuous, it's a chance to actually let them just have a mirror, not a skinny mirror, just a mirror, kind of see how it goes, how it's going.
I love that. I love that analogy as well, because it's so important. And that's something we talk about. We have a new teacher induction course on our Sibme Learning Center, and it incorporates a lot of the same research that you mentioned, that your organization has found. You know, that collaboration with peers is really key, but really having a veteran, a mentor alongside that to help you even look at your own instruction or look at examples of that and kind of guide that noticing, especially in those first years, but then, and not really start to watch yourself until towards the end of your year, because you're going to be so hard on yourself and you don't exactly know what to look for, right? So it's better to start with those models. And my favorite thing, what you said, is you started with a purpose and intention in mind, and it's just kind of gone beyond that. And that's what, you know, I was a Sibme user in my organization at a regional service center in Texas before I joined the team. And that was what I loved about Sibme. I immediately saw that there was potential for it to really grow. Like, it can meet you right where you are, and you can just use it in those in-person class visits to record as you're visiting. So you can come back to that as that common piece of artifact. But then you can also use it in those instances where another person another adult in the classroom just terrifies a new teacher. And so a camera is much less invasive for them. They can record and re-record until they feel confident. And then that collaboration piece. I love that they have some fun ways to use that and just kind of connect and grow. That's really exciting. But just like you said, like the fact that it's technology that's right here already in my pocket makes this really scalable. So I love that. I definitely love that.
And they've been videoed and videoing literally their entire lives, because there's 22 and 23 and 24 years old. And so it really is an inobtrusive, it's not intimidating for them.
Right.
Video component is not intimidating for them.
Well, and I think what's even more powerful for me is, you know, I fell into using video into my classroom several years after my first 2 years, right? So it was my last 2 years in the classroom before I left for leadership roles in my district that I fell into video. And if I would have had that in combination with the mentoring that was offered at my district together, I mean, who knows the things that I could have accomplished. I had a hard time leaving my classroom because I was like, there's still things I want to perfect and improve upon. But I realized, you know, my place was to move out and support other teachers. But you're also giving a skill to these new teachers that long after the CarolinaTIP program, they have this process now to be able to reflect and improve and be consistent on the things that are going well. Like you're building growth mindset, and you're building that capacity for them wherever they go to be able to have this as a process for them professional learning.
Yeah, our number one goal is to keep teachers in the profession. That's number one. But our secondary goal is to turn them into reflective practitioners, so that they are able, exactly like you said, Corey, that they're able to analyze their own performance, analyze their own teaching, analyze their own classroom management, whatever it is. Even analyze their own presentation if they get to go to a conference and present or something. Giving them that tool, you're right, lasts much longer than the 3 years that we are in their lives.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Anything else, Brian, on your end before we wrap up with our final question with Angela?
So a lot of new teacher induction programs are going to be interested in Sibme at the Learning Forward conference. What advice would you offer to anyone getting started with Sibme?
Okay, so you can't control this, but I would suggest that you have a support person as great as mine. I have Jenny is my Sibme support staff, and she is incredibly responsive. I have texted her after work hours and said, oh my gosh, I can't find this one thing. And she's super responsive and always makes me feel like, oh, it's great. You're doing great. She's really positive. So that's not really advice, but just a plug for all of Sibme staff I've come into contact with, but specifically mine, Jenny.
Jenny is amazing.
She's amazing. She's really amazing. One thing that I think would be really important with rolling it out is how you train both the coaches and the teachers. So our initial idea was to have a train the coaches mindset, or to have a train the coaches model and let them train their own teachers. And what we discovered was that a lot of our coaches are actually retired teachers themselves, and they aren't quite as tech savvy as someone else might be, certainly not as much as their teachers are. I'm not either. I don't know that even a 26-year-old is as tech savvy as the 22-year-olds that I coach. And so what we ended up doing was training the coaches and then having the coaches just join in while I trained the teachers as well. And that was a really effective way to do it. We found some misconceptions that our coaches had during that teacher training, and they also got to sit side by side, kind of elbow to elbow with their teachers and start building community and work through the process with them. So how you train would be a big thing. When I was first kind of playing around with Sibme, I did a bunch of stuff wrong. For example, I left my orientation lock on my phone, and then my video was sideways. I discovered that leaving that in my workspace on Sibme was a big pressure reliever for our teachers and our coaches, leaving the mistakes on there and letting them see it's not polished. We don't expect perfection. We just want a glimpse into your classroom. And that seems silly, but we're talking about people who have spent their entire life on social media. And so it's a little bit hazardous for them to post things and to have input on those things. So we really appreciate anything that would help those teachers know that there's no pressure. A huge thing for our teachers that they tell us over and over is knowing that their videos are not visible to anyone, not even me. And I'm the account owner of our Sibme account. Their videos are not visible to anyone until they hit that share button. And there's a lot of pressure relief there that they can mess up and then they can just do it again and no one will ever know. Totally true.
Yeah, I deleted my first 8 video, and this was long before Sibme, but my first 8 videos, I took 2 weeks to finally sit down and watch, and deleted them all in the first 5 seconds because I couldn't stand how I sounded and how I looked, and my classroom wasn't organized enough. And that's why that workspace is there. So that's part of that intentional Sibme workflow. When you record, it goes into your private space first. Now you as the account owner can still, like you talked about earlier, you still have that analytics piece where you can see, has Brian recorded his video? Has he watched his video? You can't see his video or his comments in that space until he shares it. And you've got to be a part of the place he shares it too.
That's right.
But you can at least see the activity to see that, all right, we've got a teacher who hasn't done any recording yet. We need to see if they need some support with the technology or reminders, those kinds of things. So that's great.
That's a huge bit of it, is that I can see that they are doing things. I can't see what they are doing until they decided this is fit for consumption by my coach, that sort of thing.
That's huge for psychological safety.
Yeah, definitely. 2 more tiny pieces of advice. One would be to let your teachers and your coaches, one of the first things that you do with them in the training is to take them in and let them cut off some of the notifications from Sibme, because the default is to get notified for everything. And we found with our teachers, that turns them off a little bit because they're like, oh God, I've already gotten 27 emails about this thing. And so really being able to customize that was a big thing when we got started. And last but not least, I would say to start with your teachers, especially induction teachers, with really low stakes assignments. So the very first thing that we did was a 5-second introduction video. And we had our 61. Anyway, our second year teachers, however many there are, we had them all record their 5-second introduction video in the same room at the same time. So they are hysterical because you can hear the one teacher who's in the video and then you can hear everyone behind them saying, hi, I'm so excited to be here. And it just became so silly that it was okay when you looked at it and you were like, oh, I can't believe my nose looks like that or whatever.
Bad camera angle. Yeah,
exactly. And then we had our teachers record a slightly longer introduction video. We actually gave them a list of questions if they wanted to use them. And that was something private just between them and their coach. And so that was another way to have kind of a low stakes assignment. And then the thing I'm most happy that we did with our new teachers right at the beginning was a suggestion from Jenny to have them do a 360-degree tour of their classroom and post that. It was the perfect way to make sure they could all record, that they could all upload, that they could all comment, that they could all view. And it was also just really interesting to watch second-year teachers proudly show off the way they had set things up in their classroom for the second year.
Yeah.
So that was a big one.
Yeah, that Classroom 360 is one of our tried and true activities. It's like you said, it's low stakes. No students are involved in the filming of those videos.
Yep.
And out of how they, that Pinterest and implemented it and talked about how they're going to use it. And it's also a great one for those collaboration huddles for them,
Yes.
for other teachers to see each other's rooms. It's a great PR activity.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Those are great pearls of wisdom, definitely. And I think they really apply to just about any program. That training is important. That's one thing that we've realized. It's part of why we've gone more on demand with our initial training. We've got our 101 courses now because that's important. But having consistency across that, definitely, it's new, not just for teachers, but for coaches as well. It's a new realm for them to coach with video for a lot of them. So.
For sure.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Angela. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Angela, it's such a joy to connect with you. Thanks for joining our What's Up Wednesday today, Angela. Can't wait to see you guys down there in Columbia.
We'll see you soon.
All right, bye now.
All right, thanks, Angela. All right, Brian, we are finishing with our favorite segment. Yes. Today we have our shout outs. So, I had to throw in my favorite one. You did it! World's best cup of coffee. So I've got two of our customers that we're shouting out to today. And then real quick, I just want to shout out again to Jenny Solfridge, our lead customer success manager. Everyone has amazing things to say about Jenny, and she really goes above and beyond. So
you'll never walk alone with Jenny Solfridge in customer success.
That's right. That's right. And not only that, but she's got 8 girls that she's raising in addition to that. So she is a superhero for sure. So I've a shout out. I've been working really closely with this company, Catapult Learning. They've got they've got a lot of different legs within their organization. They even run some schools. They do a lot of stuff in special education, which is near and dear to my heart. But Catapult Learning, I've been working with them for almost 8 weeks now for some ongoing onboarding with some of their coaches. I get to have a little bit more of a casual conversation with them next week with their Utah pilot that's been going on, but they're getting ready to expand to 2 new sites. So I wanted to shout out to them because they have had some amazing learning internally and externally with the people that they're serving. So we don't just serve K-12 and higher education. We also support those who are supporting those individuals. So shout out to my friends at Catapult Learning for all their hard work and continued success with rolling out a video enhanced and blended virtual coaching model. So shout out to them.
Catapult. Way to go.
Yeah, and I get to join them at their annual learning conference in January. I get to keynote for them, so I'm super excited about that and talk with them about psychological safety, which is something we were just discussing, and its importance for learning. Our second shout out goes out to Penn High School in Indiana. Penn High School. Yeah, they have been using Sibme pretty extensively this year. And Jenny says, because Jenny gave me this shout out, this one's from Jenny directly. They got power users who really make the platform work for them. So we talked about how the Sibme platform is really flexible. There's lots of different ways that you can use this for just individual self-reflection all the way out to collaboration and even things like, virtual pineapple charts and those types of things. And so Penn High School has really been pretty innovative this year and a lot of activity happening across that. And high school is usually one of the harder campuses to really make this type of learning successful, right? So it's a lot more of those silos in upper secondary. And so they've done some amazing things. So shout out to Penn High School.
I can't wait to hear their story, in the second semester, because I mean they've been, I guess they've been trialing for a little while and getting it going. So that's
Yeah.
I can't wait to run into them next semester. So,
Yeah.
way to go, Penn High School. That's our shout outs for this week.
That is.
Don't forget to post your favorite holiday movie and get in the drawing for our $25 Amazon gift card. So it's a freebie and it's easy.
Yep.
We all love our holiday movies, so get them out there.
That's right. We'll announce the winners next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
And next Wednesday, we're continuing our conversation with Allison Burnett, our director of virtual coaching, and she's bringing on our lead Sibme virtual coach,
my
Kelly
fellow
Garrett.
Steeler fan and director of virtual learning. She's almost like my aunt Allison. She's been such a great mentor to me. She's just kind of
she's
been
amazing.
wonderful. She's always fun to have on the show. So
she's good.
can't wait to see Allison again. So Corey, until I see you through the grapevine, we've got a lot of busy work to get done here at Sibme. Everybody have a fun week out there. Get ready. I know we've almost made it to winter break.
That's right. And did you hear that person in your workspace whistling "O Christmas Tree"? So everybody's feeling the holiday vibes. I heard them earlier when you were talking. So
we actually have our co-working space's holiday party this evening. So
there you go.
Feeling
it nice and early.
I know. There we go. So all right, it's going to be a marathon this holiday. So we'll see you out there. Okay.
All right.
Everybody.
Bye, gang.
Thanks for joining us.